just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 80. Mike Biseglia, Alex Vanessowitz. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing well, man. You calmed down a little bit after your rant on the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio the other day?
Yeah, I got really fired up, and we actually have a special guest today on Bad Weather Fans. It is Ryan Hickey, who I was talking with and debating with on the Zach Gelb Show, and he had made the point, and he had told me that he believed that Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving, obviously good for the Sixers. We don't need to explain that. It makes sense. But he also said it was a better move for the Nets, that they would improve their roster. So Ryan is Zach's producer on CBS Sports Radio. I used to produce for Zach on CBS Sports Radio. So Zach, being the puppeteer that he is, invited me on his show to debate with Ryan Hickey. And, we wanted to take it now back here to Bad Weather Fans, which was a good idea on your end, so we could continue the conversation in a more civil manner.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious. I mean, I'm listening to it on the radio. You guys screaming at each other, and Zach's just like sitting back. You could just hear him laughing and like clapping in the background with like sitting back like he's on a beach chair with his head back. Like, man, this is great. Mike and new Mike are arguing.
Mike and new Mike, right?
It's so funny. No disrespect to Ryan. Just making a Family Guy joke when they get the new dog, new Brian.
No, I know.
But it was funny. It was great. And I mean, I want the Nets to crash and burn at all costs, and I would love that trade to happen, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. So anyway.
So what we'll do right here is I'm actually going to play a clip. So what happened after was Zach Gelb went on his, I guess he brought his phone out and he took a video, and then he ended up tweeting it. Was our conversation after the segment was over. So Ryan's in the control room and he's on the phone just talking with me, the guest, afterwards. So this was not on the air, but this is like a little behind the scenes. Zach took a video of it. But we're going to put it here now in this podcast. You can get a sense for just how fired up Ryan Hickey was about it. So here is the video from Zach Gelb's Twitter, where it shows Ryan Hickey yelling at me from CBS Sports Radio.
Because you didn't give me any time. You're screaming and yelling, this and that. But I've been saying it on Twitter all fucking day. Kyrie Irving has missed more playoff games than he has played in the last 4 years. You pay a star to be on the court in the playoffs, and he is not there.
So you hear the anger, you hear the passion from Ryan Hickey. Again, these were the points he made after the interview. You can go on, head back. I'm sure on Zach Gelb's page, you can find it
on his podcast. What hour was it of the show?
Hour three from Wednesday night.
So Zach Gelb Show, hour 3 Wednesday night. It's available on all podcast apps.
Yeah,
so you can
Zach
find
Gelb
it. And the Odyssey app.
There.
Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to hear that portion of it, but that was the after part, and yeah, Ryan was pissed.
He was, and I think he was more pissed because he couldn't get his full point out there, and you dominated him on the radio. I gotta be honest. I texted you, I was like, oh my god, you crushed it, because you were just fair. Like we're coming with the fire, and he didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance, and I think that's probably why he was so angry in the control room, where he's just like, like, you know what I mean? He couldn't get it out,
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
If you want to have Ryan on here, we'll have a nice conversation. We'll go back
Part
and
2.
forth. We won't yell at each other, but we'll talk some sports. Hickey's also a big Mets fan, so we'll talk a little Mets and the disaster that they have been. So good stuff all around. I also do want to mention, as I bring this up, if you want to hear Ryan, he has his own show Monday and Thursdays. It's on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So good stuff there. He talks all things sports. We'll talk about that too. Here is our convo with Mr. Ryan Hickey. All right. So as promised, here he is, the man, Ryan Hickey. We had this wonderful conversation earlier in the week about Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons trade. Ryan, how are you doing? Have you brightened up a little bit, smartened up here a little bit in the last 48 hours?
Well, I guess that you disagree. No, but Segs, and Alex, thanks for having me on. My question for you, kind of
Yeah,
from
please.
tables here, is did you change your son's name as you promised in our group text from Ryan to Idiot yet?
No, I did not. And I actually did not even share this with Alex. So I'll give a little context.
Oh.
To
Yeah,
it.
that's
Ryan
crazy.
Initially, Ryan sent a group text to me and one of my good buddies, Billy Jacques Alone, who's also a diehard Nets fan. And
I know Billy. Yeah.
And he proposed the trade, Simmons for Kyrie Irving. And we got into it. I started getting fired up. And Ryan knows that, my son's name is Ryan. I said, after this take, I'm going to have to change my son's name to Idiot because of how dumb your point is.
But you did not change the name.
I did not change his name. I did not.
And
just denied.
So for our listening audience, the floor is yours. Why do you think Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons is a good trade for both teams?
For the Sixers, I think that's an easier point. That's the best player you're going to get, right? Like the names now floating around. The Kings are not going to give De'Aaron Fox. Do you want CJ McCollum? Is that going to make you a championship team better than you are right now? I would probably say no. So if you look at just pure talent you could return, Kyrie's going to be the best player for the Sixers you're going to get back. Now, for your Nets, two things. One, when you look at Kyrie Irving, he is a great player. And I'm not comparing talent-wise Kyrie to Ben Simmons. It's not a conversation. Kyrie is a way, 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 way better player than Ben Simmons. When you look at health, right? Kyrie is a superstar. We keep talking about the big three. The issue with Kyrie Irving is he is a superstar. You pay your superstars to play the big games. He does not play in the big games. Since 2018, he has missed 26 playoff games. He has played in just 18 of them. That's, that you pay a superstar, but what good is it to have a superstar on your team if he's not on the court in the biggest times, which is the postseason? Forget the regular season. We won't even talk about that. Just postseason play. He is not out there more times than he is. Ben Simmons at least is durable. And not to mention, I'll say this. Kyrie Irving and James Harden have similar skill sets. They do a lot of the same things, or they both have the skill set that each other can do really well. They can dribble really well, they can pass really well, they can shoot really well. So if you're going to have two guys kind of doing the same thing, to me, it would make more sense to diversify the lineup. You bring in Ben Simmons, who's long, who's athletic. He can't shoot. No, everyone knows that. But with the Nets roster construction, really flax and no one else is really living in the paint. So you can have more freedom for your Ben Simmons to score closer to the rim than you would in Philly with Joel Embiid there. You get better defensive acumen. He's he can guard 1 through 5, he can rebound. He's just athletic. So for me, you just bring a different dynamic to this already talented Nets team that has, just with Harden and KD alone, more scoring than you could ever really imagine. Now you diversify the lineup by bringing in some of the different skills that maybe can strengthen the biggest weakness on this team.
Alex, I'll let you talk. I've talked a lot here. I want to hear what Alex has to say.
Well, I'm a Knicks fan, as you can see the hat, and I'm rooting for chaos, complete chaos with the Nets. I want everything to crash and burn, no matter what. I don't hide it. I don't act like there's no rivalry. I don't act like I don't care. No, I care. I want them to suck. I look at it this way: the Nets have a super team right now, right? And if you swap Kyrie and Simmons, and I simplify it this way: if you swap Kyrie and Simmons, they're not a super team with a guaranteed title window. You know what I mean? Like if you have Kyrie and the way they're currently constituted, they're almost guaranteed to win the title if they're healthy. If you switch them, they're not. And when these guys who are big three, Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, fit is not as relevant as it is for players who are not as good. If they all like each other, these guys at this level, if they all like each other, the fit doesn't matter. They figure it out. That's how I feel.
Well, let me just add a point to that. And I think this is where I disagree with both of you guys. And maybe, Alex, you'll change your tune after I say this, and maybe you say it differently. But the fit is good. That's the thing. Like Kyrie and Harden fit really well. And I think that's what people aren't noticing is they have, yes, similar skill sets, but James Harden was the point guard. Kyrie Irving was the 2 guard, and he deferred to him in that sense. And when they were together, remember the Nets were like a couple games over 500. Durant goes out, Kyrie and Harden came together, and that's when they went on their big winning streak because they fit so well together. And I think there's this misconception because they're 2 similar kind of players that they could swap one out and get a forward that makes a better fit sense. But in reality, they played so well together, and we haven't even seen that with Kevin Durant. And I'd also warn you on this, and this is me being truthful about the Nets. Injuries are a problem, right? And we've spent this first part of this podcast talking about the Kyrie Irving issues. James Harden was the one that was out. Harden missed all of that time. So if James Harden's out, what do you feel more comfortable with? Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant or Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant? If you go that route and Harden's done, now I'm like, who's gonna like Durant and who are gonna score? Simmons, would have to play the point at that aspect, but your scoring then takes a huge hit and a liability. So we're all thinking about this Kyrie Irving injury issues. But if James Harden starts to have more hamstring problems, and now you don't have him or Kai, who's scoring the ball?
Now, who says Durant? I mean, Harden outside of this year has been durable. Like, this is not a guy with
Agreed.
History,
Knock on
especially
wood.
as consistent as Kyrie. You're right. Knock on wood. So I guess maybe like for me, I get the injuries, and even with KD, he missed a ton of time last year, as you know. But I just kind of not flukes, but I feel more confident personally in KD and Harden being there for the long term, 60, 65, 70 games a season for the next, let's say 3-4 years than I do Kyrie. Like how for you, Bisegs, Alex, I think is right. And I will be honest, I changed my tune. I was a guy that doubted the Nets' big three. I thought they could not work together. And you know what? They would have won the title last year if they were healthy. The big thing is if they were healthy. What is your confidence level going forward that this team can stay healthy?
Oh, it's not good. I mean, realistically, I'm nervous as hell. Like there's all these different elements that could go wrong and spoil fast. I mean, I would be unrealistic if I was to say that. I mean, Kevin Durant proved that he's great. But there's still in the back of my mind the injury factor there. Harden now coming off a season where he's been super reliable, but he's getting older and the hamstring issues popped up. What's going to happen? Is this going to become an injury problem? Kyrie Irving, you laid everything out there. I don't need to repeat what you just said. So yeah, there's a lot of nerves, and it's also from the element of I've never seen the Nets win a championship, and most of my teams suck. So there's always in the back of my mind what's going to fucking go wrong for my team, what's going to go poorly. So that's there. But then at the same time, I mean, I would be foolish if I didn't tell you, like, I've never been more optimistic for a chance to win a championship in my entire life. You know, like I'm not rooting for the Nets and I'm like, is Keith Van Horn going to develop this year? I mean, you know, like this is a real shot to win a championship, but I'd be lying if I didn't say in my head, I've created all the scenarios that are going to go down and go poorly.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kyrie's been hurt more times than not in the playoffs. Like that's Ryan's point. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, and we talk about that often here on this podcast, but at the same time, it's like you have to take the chance that they're going to be healthy and at least get it together for 1 year. You know what I mean? You put all your chips into the table onto the table for this one, and you have to go. And it has to happen. It has to happen soon because these guys aren't getting any younger. Harden's getting older. You know, Durant's getting older. Kyrie's the young guy at like 29. Like, you know, so it's and you look at the Nets roster, they got a lot of big names, you know, and but they're all older. Like, and you know, you look at like, oh my God, if these guys were in their prime, it's a dream team, but they're not. Like Blake Griffin's not, you know, Millsap's not, Aldridge, if he comes back, he's not. So like it looks great on paper, but it's really about the three guys at the top and maybe like Claxton and Joe Harris, you know, developing a little more, you know. So
and well, that's why I liked it. That's why I did like.
Yeah.
I think in the long run, when the Nets took Cam Thomas and took a bunch of rookies, that they're thinking about the future in that sense, especially with Sean Marks, because they don't have draft picks for the next 87 years. We have the 3 picks now. Let's just stack the picks now. So it's like, okay, you have 1 pick this year, none next year, or 1 this year, 1 next year. If you use 2 this year, in that sense, like let's just get these picks in. So you know, I did agree with that. Hickey, was I able to change your mind at all in the last 10 minutes?
No, but I will say is I understand where you're coming from now more than I did, let's say 48 hours ago when I'm screaming at you in the phone. Like that's like, I guess that's, if you want to accept the reality that basically this season is going to come down to injuries and you're relying on 3 guys that barely, you know, what was it 8 games they played together last year? They were not reliable, so healthy, and hope that just better luck comes on this year. Okay. Like for me, I guess how I would equate it is, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right? To me, a bird in the hand is Simmons here. Lesser player, healthy, durable, compared to 2 in the bush. You're hoping that Kyrie could stay healthy if he can. To your point and Alex's point, this is a championship team. They're going to win the title. The issue is obviously the big question is health. And you just laid it out before. You're petrified of the health aspect. So that's, to me, I guess, the biggest reason why I think this would work out for the Nets. You bring at least some durability to a aspect of the team that does not have much.
And also another thing, what would be funny to me is if Kyrie gets traded to the Sixers, then Kyrie and Embiid beat the Nets in the playoffs and they go on to win the title.
From the bottom of my heart, Alex, go fuck yourself.
Ryan, that would happen.
Ryan, I see you're wearing a Mets jersey. What's been your thoughts of the Mets over the last? Well, they're playing well now. They've won 5 straight.
Roller coaster,
but it's been a shit show for sure. Your feelings on the New York Mets this year, and unfortunately, the Braves did win last night.
embarrassed. Like, I don't know about you guys. For me personally, this is the most I think as a Mets fan. Like we've gotten to the point where you have the players now blaming the fans for their crappiness. Like the Mets have, they've had an executive in Tony Bernard rip his shirt off and try to fight minor leaguers. Now you have the general manager driving drunk and getting, arrested at 4 a.m. It's just like there's always something with this team. But honestly, to blame the fans that the booing and the booing apparently now is making them even worse than they are. This team stinks. Let's just go for it. This team is not a very good team. They won 5 in a row. They beat the Nationals and the Marlins. Congratulations. Like this team, they could, maybe I should be excited about the Marlins because they never beat the Marlins. So maybe this team actually is good this egg. I don't know what you do. I waved the white flag after Zach, what was that, almost a month ago when Zach Wheeler threw that complete game shutout in Philly to really kick him out of first place and push him, I think, a game and a half out. This team is not good. They can't hit. They really can't hit with runners in score position. I don't know what is that. And it will never get better for whatever reason. This is a freaking mess, honestly. And it's awful. I don't even know why I wear the shirt, to be honest.
And this is this is the perfect team for fans to boo because they have a lot of players playing well under their production level. You know what I mean? You have Conforto, you have Lindor, even Baez, all these guys have stunk. And like McNeil, like they stink and they should be way better than this on paper. They should be way better than this. And that's the perfect team to boo because they're not coming up. It's not our fault as the fans that you stink with runners in scoring position. It's not, it's not on us that Diaz blows a save. You know what I mean? It's not because of us. We're just letting you know.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a pitch Javi Baez swung. I think it didn't even hit the dirt.
The change up.
The grass in front of the dirt in front of. It was like 10 feet in front of home plate. Javi Baez is swinging, and then he's wondering why fans are booing. It's like, dude, you have no approach. You just go up there. I'm going to swing wherever this pitch is. The ball is 50 feet, and he's swinging. Then it's why are you booing me? Because you stink.
Yeah, at least open your eyes when you swing. Like that's like kind of a little league thing.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. I gave up a little while ago, and then they sucked me back in with the Baez thing, and I watched the doubleheader. I was into it. I was like, oh my god, here we go! Like we're back. And then the next morning, the GM is the rest of it. I'm like, all right, you know what, man? Screw you guys. Enough of this tease.
As we're recording this right now, though, they're 5 back with 29 left, and they finished the season with 3 versus Atlanta. So it's not impossible by the math if they can just chip away and get a couple of games and get it to 2 with like the 3 left. At least then it's something that is possible. And that's almost the more frustrating part of it in a weird sense is if it was over, it's over and you could move on, but it's not close where they're in it and you're like watching a pennant race. They're just somewhere teetering back and forth. And which way is it going to fall? And because the division's been such shit, they've been able to stay in it. And so, I'm looking up and waking up in the morning and checking the box score to see if, the unbelievable home Rockies could get a win versus the Braves and shit.
It just sucks. They could have ran away with this like 2 months ago and we could have been cruising and dealing with a little bit of a struggle and still have a lot of room, but they sucked. So what can you do?
Yeah. But Segs, right? That's the worst part. It's just like, I'm still watching every game. So it's like, I'm still invested. I'm still in. Just end it. Like either put me out of my misery or get it to the point where you're watching meaningful September baseball. They're kind of this in between where the division kind of stinks, so they're still in it, but they're not really in it. They're really not that good. But again, no one's running away with it. That's honestly.
Well, now they have Brad Hand. Now they have Brad Hand, so everything's fixed. They got Brad Hand. So
they did sign him.
Okay.
The irony. He leaves the Mets because he's not a closer. Goes to the Nationals, and look at that. A few months later, they get him.
He's not eligible for playoffs. Yeah,
Steve Cohen knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
There you go. He's playing the long game here.
Check out the Ryan Hickey Show. It airs every Monday and Thursday on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Follow Ryan on Twitter at Ryan_Hickey3. And one final question for you, Ryan, and we'll end this. Is it true that you only eat pasta, macaroni and cheese, and have the palate of a 12-year-old?
It is expanding. I will say last night I did the very Wisconsin thing. I had brats and the cheese curds. So I don't think right? Is that more than 12-year-old? Is that like a distinct palate? I would say so.
I think so. Yeah.
I get to 15. So. Maybe.
Okay. So we're moving on up. I'll take it. We're almost at puberty here. I do eat a lot of pasta. I do have peanut butter and jelly for lunch every single day, 2 peanut butter and jellies. And I do eat oatmeal every day. So I eat the same thing a lot. And I really don't vary. So I guess, yes, I guess you talk to Zach about my eating habits because I can't lie. You are right there.
And I'm gonna splice this audio where you said you are right there, and it's gonna be about a Kyrie Irving question. So just get ready for that. If I had drops, you'd be screwed, bro. Cool. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on Bad Weather Fans and having some fun with us. And yeah, definitely check out Ryan's show Monday and Thursday. Good stuff as it gets into all things sports. So appreciate it, brother.
Alex, Mike, thanks for having me on, guys. A lot of fun.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, thank you, Ryan Hickey, for coming on the podcast. Alex, I'm glad that Ryan and myself could have a nice conversation, get our points out there, and not be yelling at each other. And Ryan's a great dude.
Yeah, no, he was great. It was a lot of fun, and big Mets fan, you could see. So that was cool to hear too. So he's a good guy in my book. If you're a Mets fan, it's just is he a Nets fan or Knicks fan? I never asked him.
He's a Knicks fan. Okay. But I would say I don't want to speak for him, but my educated guess is I think the Knicks are last on his care factor. Yeah, I don't think
he's got Penn State football also, a big Penn State guy, right? So
yeah, he went to Penn State,
Mets. So it looks like he's got a lot of room there. Not a lot of room left.
Right. Exactly. I thought it was interesting. Something that Danny B said on Twitter. He's like, I've been so consumed with so much Knick content. He's like, all of a sudden I'm like forgetting, like, I like all these other teams. You know what I mean? Like, I think I thought that was really fascinating because you and I are passionate about all our teams. And then we kind of get into this net Knick thing. And then you forget like, fuck, I love the Mets. I love the Giants. So I just want to make sure that's out there. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to put the same. Once you start doing this, then shout out to Danny B. He's great. But once you start doing the podcast stuff and you really start focusing on it, because you got to like really prepare. We're not like TNT NBA where we're just showing up and like doing. You got to like think about topics and do some things. And you kind of like don't like. I watch the Mets every day, but I can't say like I'm as into it as I was 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
No,
I can't explain it.
That's why
I'm into it. Don't get me wrong. And like the Jets is different. Football is different because it's once a week and you can really like read articles and like, like I don't have to be up to date on every cut they made. Like who cares? You know what I mean? The 51st person on the roster, like who gives a damn? You know what I mean? But but I do know they cut their 3rd and 4th round pick from last year. But what are we gonna do there? You know what I mean? Like, but this GM's a genius, guys. He's a genius. But anyway, let's not get into a Jets rant. We'll save that hopefully maybe for another time soon. A lot of football coming up. But you want to get into the poll question, or you want to
do the poll question, and then we'll do our Dolan sponsored trivia, jersey trivia. But let's do the poll question. I haven't seen it before I get into it, so I'm curious.
Oh, that's good. Before I get into a Jets rant, that'll take 15 minutes, and I don't need to do that. We'll save that. So, okay, weekly Knicks poll question at Knicks Central. Knicks fans, who do you think will be the starting point guard by the All-Star break? And comment why. Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Emmanuel Quickley, or Deuce McBride?
Kemba.
Yeah, Kemba won resounding 86.2%. Derrick Rose 6.6, Quickley 4.6, Deuce McBride 2.5. So I think I put this out there because its health is not guaranteed. Like, you know what I mean? With Kemba, with Derrick Rose, like health is not guaranteed. And that's why it makes it a little bit of a funky question. Because on paper, you're like, of course it's going to be Kemba. You know what I mean? But if it is Kemba, the Knicks are doing well. Like, if he's like 75% of what he was, like then we'll be doing well. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about you making fun of people saying if he's 80% of Kevin Durant.
Sorry, I wasn't even thinking that. But no, we'll see what. I'm really intrigued to see what Kemba is this year. I was texting with a lot of Celtic fans because I have a lot of Celtic fans that I know, and I was curious what they thought on Kemba. They all had the same take, but then at the same time, it's from the Celtic fan. So I don't have to tell you, what their take was on Kemba.
That he stinks. He's always hurt.
The greatest guy you'll ever meet, but he's washed.
Yeah, you hear like how it's not like when DeAndre Jordan went to the Nets and all the Knicks fans are laughing like he's washed. Like, dude, we watched him for the half of the season that he was a Knick, and like we could tell you he's washed. Like, you don't put him in the same sentence as Kyrie and Durant as a clean sweep because he's not even close to that level. And it took you guys 2 years, and now you're there and they're buying him out. You know what I mean? But, I don't think you ever were delusional thinking you're getting DeAndre Jordan from the Clippers. But, like, there were a lot of people that said that, and that's why I was reacting that way. But I think Kemba's got a little more left in the tank. I think it's just health. I don't think he's going to be the 25 and 9, whatever he was with the Hornets, Kemba. But I think he can give us 18 and 7, like, you know what I mean? And be healthy and be that vet. And he doesn't need to because him and Rose can split time. Quickly can come in, and you got McBride can come in, and those guys can take some rest days and stay healthy. And like, I don't really like the rest days, but sometimes when you're that age, sometimes you need to take a night off and just just do me a favor and don't say it's for rest. Just say he's hurt. Like, you know what I mean? His knee hurts. You know what I mean? Just trick me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear the rest days, because then that causes a distraction. So if you're listening, Knicks organization, please listen to me and do that. Thank you. Okay, so shout outs as I swallow. We have Ant. He's at Ant_NY02. Bruh, I don't care as long as it isn't Peyton. So that's a good one. Let's see. We got Marcus Stewart. Excuse me, easy for me to say. He's at MARQSTEWIE. I just love the combo of D Rose and IQ off the bench. And to be honest, I don't know if Deuce will even get that much playing time off the bench with Tibbs, which is a good point. I mean, quickly got playing time. He didn't start when he clearly should have for a while, but he played every day. So it wasn't like Tibbs showed if you can play as a rookie, you'll play. He's not like Larry Brown who's just going to bench you for, you're a rookie. You're just, you're red shirt. Right. Let's see. Oh, Coonies. There's always a Coonies section of the podcast. Coonies _Kunal ____. Kemba, best point guard in the rotation and enough guard depth to allow him to rest throughout the season when needed. So that's a good point. Then we have FNATIC. He's FNATIC TTV. I think quick because he's going to be well developed by then, and the rotation will make sense seeing that D Rose and Kemba are injury prone. But it will obviously most likely be Kemba if there is no major injuries between him and D Rose. That's a good point. And it's crazy. Like I say this all the time. The amount of veteran leadership on this team for Quickly and for McBride and for other young players is really, really important. It's really good because you have like Rose and Kemba are two guys that these kids Quickly and McBride probably grew up watching, like in high school and in middle school. Like, look at these guys. I mean, Derrick Rose obviously was a different level than Kemba, but still Kemba was an all-star level player. And it's crazy to think about that. And you're smiling because you're like, I'm old.
No, I'm not. I'm smiling because I'm thinking back to that Quickly comment he made about Kevin Durant. So you're right. When he said like, oh my God, I'm playing with Kevin Durant. So I'm sure, D Rose is in that same sort of generation of that younger player that's now aging.
Mm-hmm. Right. He was the MVP when he was, I mean, how long was an MVP? 10 years ago? I mean, right? What year was that? 12, 13, something like that.
Great.
I don't remember. Yeah. Sorry, I'm wrong. I don't know everything off the top of my head, everybody. So then we have Aaron. He's Aaron A. Jacobs. If everyone is healthy, Kemba and D Rose will have a nice split with Quickly and spot minutes and serving as an undersized two. Deuce only sees garbage time or injury related minutes this year, but he'll get to watch two good ones in front of him and learn a lot. Yeah. And the other thing, I think Jericho Sims, the other rookie that everybody's going crazy for in Summer League, is going to start off in Westchester. So it just shows you that Summer League pumped the brakes on. Everybody was like talking about Sims in the rotation. Like, oh, we got Taj. How are we going to put Sims? I'm like, he's not going to be on the team. But we'll see what happens. Maybe he earns a spot in preseason. Who knows? But whatever. So like you, Cam Thomas is in the Hall of Fame already for you, obviously.
Yeah, right. So. But I think he's going to get rotation. But he'll get some minutes. I hope he does. But again, it says just so right. Everybody's just such a sucker of the moment that you just
prisoner of the moment.
Yeah. That's the word. Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't remember, so I said sucker. So I'm filling in my own brain gaps. So. Me.
Let's move on.
All right, let's do the Dolan Trump poll question, which is sponsored by Dolan. He gives us we have jersey numbers. We have to guess them. You know the deal by now. Alex, would you like to go first? And also buy his merch. Would you like to go first or second?
Yes. I'll read first. You go first. So okay, ready? I have it open.
Okay, go for it.
Because okay, so jersey number trivia, like you said. We used to do it every episode based on the numbers, but now we're in number 80 and there's no number 80. So Dolan J. Trump sponsors us. So here's his clues for Mike for a Nets jersey number. He wore number 41, but switched to number 10 during the second season with the Nets.
Mark Hendrickson.
No. So he's number 41 and 10. So for 2 years, he had two different numbers.
Justin.
No.
Okay. Wait, say the clue again. I wasn't listening.
He wore number 41, but switched to number 10 during his second season. So 41 one year and 10 the next. He doesn't tell me how long.
Doug Overton.
Nope. He played 2 seasons in Brooklyn from 2012 to 2014. His only 2 seasons in the NBA. This is a tough one. I told you.
He was pissed. Dolan's
pissed.
This
one. I got to be honest with you. I told you in our pre-production meeting that I never heard of the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty bad.
Okay.
Not to toot my own horn, but like I'm obsessed with the NBA. So you want more clues or you want to think for a second?
Nah, go more clues. Give me.
Oh, this easy now. He was drafted by Portland in the second round and dealt to the Nets on draft night. How do you not know the Portland second round picks?
Oh man, if
Off
I
the
was
top of your head.
watching the 2012 draft, so let's think. Second round pick, 2012 draft, Blazers, 41 changed his number. 41 changed his number. Keep going.
Dolan Trump saw him play against his high school alma mater as a member of St. Anthony's, coached by Bobby Hurley Sr.
So he's a Jersey guy.
Mm-hmm.
He went to my weakest Nets team.
Yeah, he knew. He attacked the weakness.
He did. He did a good job. Is there, and the college is the only thing left.
Yeah, we're saving that for the end because we know you're a college guy.
Oh, I thought there was. Oh, there's more clues. Okay,
There's more clues. And there's one bonus clue. So this is the last clue, and then I don't know why he put a bonus clue. Oh, because it's like a weird one. Okay, so unlike Scott Padgett, he played college ball for the great state of Kansas because he thought he played for Kansas last episode. That's his joke.
Okay, so say that again.
So he played for Kansas. So
He played for Kansas.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I can see those jerseys. Okay, and the bonus clue.
The bonus clue is he tended to be sloppy on the court with things you wouldn't expect to factor into a basketball game.
Can I phone a friend?
Phone a friend? I don't know. Do we do that?
Maybe we should do that. I'll call Dolan right
Poll
here.
the audience.
41 went to Kansas. 2012.
41 and 10. So he's number 41 and number 10 in his
I
two
should know
seasons in
this.
the NBA.
I have no idea. Who is it?
Tyshawn Taylor.
Yeah, I should have known that. That actually wasn't
Never
that
heard of
tough.
Tyshawn.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. That I should have known that.
Shout out to
I didn't
Tyshawn.
know he changed his
but
number. I didn't know he
heard of him,
changed
sorry.
his number.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was one. That's my weak. Those teams are my weakness. Like I said before, I moved to Virginia. I didn't have the league pass, and the Nets won 10 games. So that's when I wasn't.
And you were mad that
like
they moved to
one.
Brooklyn, right?
That
Were
was-
you mad they
I
moved to
wasn't
Brooklyn?
mad, but that was like the one pocket where I just
Yeah.
like he can get me. He attacked my weakness. All right, you got me,
Yeah.
Dolan. You're gonna get this. It's easy. He wore number 21, but switched to 17 during his second season with the Knicks. He was a member of the 2014 and 2015 Knicks roster and started 35 games in his first season with the team.
Hold on. Slow down. So 21 and then to number 7? 17. 17. Who the I don't know. Keep going.
You'll get it eventually. He was a member of the 2014 and 2015 Knicks rosters and started 35 games in his first season with the team.
17. Who the I'm lost.
He played for
Thank you.
10 different organizations during the course of his 10-year career. That's an amazing stat.
So he's a journeyman. So yeah. He played for the Knicks for 2 years or 1 year? Through
He was
21
a
to
member of the
17?
2014 and 2015 Knicks roster and started 35 games in his first season with the team.
What position was he?
He doesn't
Did he
say.
say? Do you know what he was?
I only read the clues. What are you saying? I don't want to answer you. Want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'm lost.
He
Okay,
went
keep going.
undrafted after playing college ball at UNLV and debuted for Philadelphia in the 2007 season. And then there's a bonus clue.
21 and like the numbers are throwing me off, and
The
not having
bonus
a
clue
position.
might help you.
Hold on, let me think about it. So 2014 and 2015, you're saying
That's what I'm reading. Yeah.
started 17 games. Started, I mean, he's number 17, right? He started a few games, whatever.
He
it doesn't
wore
matter,
number
but
21, but switched to 17 during his second season with the Knicks.
see, that's throwing me off. Like, how does it? Because it's like two different numbers, and it's throwing me off because
The bonus clue might help you.
yeah, wait for that then. I just want to try to get it without that. Because so 2014 to 15, so it's kind of like mellow-ish towards the end of mellow. 17. Damn it, it's killing me. I'm like I need a position. But yeah, go ahead. Go continue. Let's see.
Bonus clue. He was part of the multi-team blockbuster involving Lance Thomas, J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, and Amon Shumpert.
See, I'm yeah, he got me. I have no idea, honestly. 20.
Wow, he got us both.
Wait, let me try to sort this out again. See, the switching numbers thing is killing me because I don't know which one to focus on. I don't know which one he played more number in you know what I mean? Like trying
It's
to
a smart move.
21.
It's a crafty move.
Because 21 was Shumpert, I think, back then. So it's just like, why? How would he have 21? Doesn't make any sense to me. And 17, and then I don't know what position. That doesn't help either. So 17 and 21. So he had 17 last. You're saying, right?
He wore number 21, but switched to 17 during his second season with the Knicks.
And he started some games. So
he
if he started some games. What? Wait,
read everything. He was a member of the 2014-2015 Knicks roster and started 35 games in his first season with the team. Just take the L now.
So I'm trying to sort it out because he had to be like a center. Because you had Shumpert, you had J.R. Smith, you had Felton, you had not Felton, but you had these guys just bouncing around that were on the team of Flalo, these scrubs. I don't know. I give it. Let me hear it.
I'm looking up more clues for you. He was 6'9".
6'9".
Yeah, 6'9".
So he had to be either guard or small forward. Or well, maybe not.
After the Knicks, he went to TNT Catrapa and then the Kawasaki Brave Thunders. I guess he left the league. Those are not NBA teams. All right. The answer to your desires is Lou Amundsen.
And I just posted a video about him too. When he airballed a finger roll once.
As a Knick?
Yeah, and it's like a really like a famous video. He
awesome.
Drove into the lane and went up for a finger roll, and he airballed it.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Dolan, you win.
Man.
You got us. 0 for 2 today. You stumped the net and Nick guys. So congratulations.
The number switching
Dolan.
thing. Yeah, the number switching thing screwed me up.
Mine was easier than yours. I should have had that.
Really? I
guess
so.
Yeah, I should have had that because he was part of just that era. I should have had that. I saw him play some games. Anyway, this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode number 80. Thank you, Ryan Hickey, for coming on the podcast and enjoying and just getting into that conversation back and forth about this Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons nonsense. And Dolan, thank you for the trivia stuff. All the people that reacted on Twitter at Nick Central, I'm at Mike Delivers Pod. Don't forget, guys, you can find this on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. If you want to check out the video version, head on over to YouTube and just type in Bad Weather Fans. Alex, episode 80, we inch closer and closer to NBA season, inch closer and closer to NFL season, and hopefully the bets can make some fun of it. So good shit as always, my friend.
All right, Mike. Have a good one.